you already crossed. Not metaphorically. Not as a future possibility you're working toward. Not as something that will happen when you've done enough inner work, or made the right decision, or finally understood what you're supposed to understand. You already crossed the threshold. And the strangest part, the part that makes this moment so disorienting, so quietly electric, is that you didn't feel it happen. There was no dramatic rupture, no lightning strike, no morning where you woke up and everything was obviously, undeniably different. The same rooms, the same faces, the same light coming through the same window at the same angle it always has to. Your routines are still intact. The structures of your daily life are still standing exactly where you left them. But something underneath all of it has already reorganized. You are not where you were. The threshold is already behind you. And the reason you found this transmission, the reason something in you was drawn here, to this specific moment, to these specific words, is because part of you already knows. Part of you has been sensing it for days, maybe weeks, maybe longer. A strange quietness where urgency used to live. A subtle detachment from goals that once felt absolutely essential. The sense that you are watching your own life from a slightly different angle than you used to. Not dissociation, not depression. Something else entirely. Something that feels almost like standing in a room you've lived in for years and suddenly noticing that the walls have moved. Just slightly, just enough. And the room is no longer quite the shape it was. That sensation is not confusion. That sensation is not loss. That sensation is arrival. You have crossed. And now your old reality is catching up to a version of you that is already on the other side. Stay with me. Because what we are about to map together is one of the most disorienting, most profound, most misunderstood experiences in the entire landscape of human consciousness. The crossing that happens before you know you've crossed. The threshold that closes behind you while you were still looking forward. The moment already past, where everything changed at the level that actually matters. The level beneath the surface of your visible life. And by the time we finish, you will understand not just what happened to you. You will understand why it happened this way. Why the crossing had to be quiet. Why the gate had to close before you could see it. Why the old reality is still running, even though you are already gone from it. And what it means, precisely, practically, in terms of what you do next, to be standing where you are standing right now. The gate is already behind you. Let's begin. There is a specific feeling that happens in the days and weeks after a threshold crossing, and almost no one has a name for it. The closest most people get is something like, "I feel off," or "something feels different, but I can't explain it," or I don't know what's wrong with me. They run through the usual explanations: stress, fatigue, hormones, a phase. They look for external causes because the external world hasn't changed enough to explain the internal shift, and because they can't find a cause that matches the magnitude of what they're feeling. They start to worry. They start to wonder if they're losing something: direction, motivation, clarity themselves. What they don't realize is that they haven't lost anything. They've crossed. And the disorientation they're feeling is not the sensation of something going wrong. It is the sensation of arriving somewhere new, while the old map is still in your hand. It is the sensation of being a different version of yourself inside a reality that was built for the previous version. It is the specific, precise experience of having already shifted at the level of identity and consciousness, while the external structures of your life are still in the process of catching up. This is what we need to understand before anything else. Because if you misread this experience, if you interpret this specific feeling as failure or stagnation or loss, you will do the one thing that can actually interrupt what's happening. You will reach back. You will try to recover the certainty and direction and urgency you used to have. You will attempt to re-inhabit the identity you've already left. And you will slow down a process that, if you understand it correctly, is already moving exactly as it should. So let's map what's actually happening. Let's look at the mechanics of this. Because this is not mystical. This is not vague. This has a precise structure that quantum mechanics describes with extraordinary clarity. And once you see that structure, once you understand the physics of what a threshold crossing actually is, the disorientation transforms into something else entirely. It transforms into recognition. In quantum physics, there is a concept called superposition. It describes the state of a quantum system before measurement. Before observation collapses the probability field into a single defined outcome. Before that collapse happens, the system exists in multiple possible states simultaneously. It is not in one place or another. It is not one thing or another. It is a probability field, a shimmering, unresolved distribution of potential outcomes, all of them real in some sense, none of them fixed yet. And then something interacts with the system, an observation, a measurement, a collapse event. And in that instant, that precise, irreversible instant, the superposition ends. The probability field collapses. One outcome becomes actual. The others don't disappear exactly, but they become inaccessible from this side of the collapse. The system has transitioned from one state to another. And here is the critical part. That transition is not gradual. It is not a slow fade from one state to another. It is a threshold event, a crossing, a moment where the old state ends and the new state begins, and there is no in-between, and there is no going back. This is the physics of what happened to you. Your consciousness, your internal state, your identity, your nervous system's fundamental orientation toward reality reached a threshold, and it crossed. Not gradually, not through a series of small, incremental changes that you consciously tracked and managed. It crossed the way quantum states cross, all at once, at a specific moment, through a collapse event that reorganized everything at the foundational level. The question is not whether this happened. The question is why you didn't feel it when it did. And the answer to that question is one of the most important things you will learn today. If this is landing for you, take a second to like this video and subscribe. There's more where this came from. You didn't feel the crossing because the crossing happened at a level below conscious awareness. It happened at the level of the observer, the level of how your consciousness interacts with the probability field of your reality, not at the level of your thoughts or your emotions or your external circumstances. It happened in the substrate, not in the surface. It happened the way a phase transition happens in physics, not as a visible, dramatic event, but as a fundamental reorganization of internal structure that then propagates outward. Think about water turning to ice. At the molecular level, the transition is instantaneous and total. There is a precise temperature at which the hydrogen bonds reorganize, at which the molecular structure shifts from liquid to crystalline, at which water becomes ice. That transition happens at the molecular level before it becomes visible at the surface. Before you can see the ice forming, the fundamental reorganization has already occurred. The surface catches up to what's already true at the level of structure. That is what happened to you. At the level of your internal structure, your nervous system's baseline state, your identity's relationship to reality, the frequency at which your consciousness is interacting with the probability field of your life, you crossed a threshold. You reorganized. You became ice while the surface was still showing water. And now, you are in the period between the molecular transition and the visible surface change. You are in the interval between what has already happened at the level of structure and what is still catching up at the level of form. This interval is real. It is measurable. It has specific qualities and specific challenges. And understanding it, understanding that you are in it right now, changes everything about how you move through it. Because here is what happens when you don't understand this interval. When you don't know that you've already crossed, when you interpret the disorientation and the detachment and the strange quietness as signs that something is wrong, you do the most natural thing in the world. You try to fix it. You try to recover the feeling of certainty and direction and momentum that you used to have. You reach back into the toolkit of the person you were before the crossing, and you try to use those tools to stabilize what feels unstable. And here is what that actually does. It sends your nervous system back into the patterns of the old state. It reactivates the predictive model that belonged to the previous version of you. It tells the probability field that the old observer is still here, still operating, still collapsing reality from the same frequency. And the probability field responds accordingly. Old outcomes become likely again. Old patterns reassert themselves. The new timeline, the one that was already forming around the version of you that crossed, gets interrupted, gets delayed, gets pulled back toward a state that you have, at the foundational level, already left. This is the trap. This is the specific, precise trap of the post-crossing interval. And the way out of it is not to push harder. It is not to force clarity or manufacture motivation or demand that the external world catch up faster. The way out of it is to understand where you are and to trust what has already happened. You are not lost. You are not stagnant. You are not going backwards. You are in the interval. And the interval is not a problem. The interval is the process. Let me tell you about a specific quality of this experience that almost everyone who has crossed a threshold reports, and that almost no one interprets correctly at the time. It is the quality of things losing their grip. Goals that used to feel urgent, the kind of goals that woke you up at 3 a.m. with a racing mind, the kind that drove you forward with a specific flavor of desperate necessity. Those goals start to feel strangely distant, not abandoned exactly, not forgotten, just further away than they used to be, less electrically charged. You can still describe them, you can still articulate why they matter. But the visceral pull, the emotional urgency, the sense that you absolutely must achieve them or something essential will be lost, that has quieted. And the mind, trained by years of operating through urgency and drive and the particular energy of striving, interprets this quietness as a problem. It says, "You've lost your motivation." It says, "You're becoming passive." It says, "You need to get back on track, back to the version of yourself that was hungry and driven and clear." But here is what is actually happening. The goals that are losing their grip were built by the previous version of you. They were constructed from the identity, the beliefs, the nervous system patterns, the probability field frequency of the observer you were before the crossing. They were the right goals for that version of you. They were perfectly calibrated to the reality that version was navigating. But you are no longer that version. You crossed, and the goals that belonged to the old state don't fit the new state, not because they were wrong, but because you have moved beyond the frequency that generated them. This is not loss. This is accuracy. When a quantum system transitions from one state to another, the properties of the old state don't transfer directly into the new state. The new state has its own properties, its own characteristics, its own set of possible interactions with the world. The old properties don't disappear. They simply no longer describe the system. They no longer apply. The same is true of your goals, your motivations, your sense of direction. The ones that are fading were properties of the old state. The ones that are forming, quietly, without urgency, almost casually, in the spaces where the old urgency used to live, those are properties of the new state. And they will not feel like the old goals felt. They will not arrive with the same desperate electricity. They will feel different, quieter, more obvious, more inevitable, less like something you have to chase, and more like something you are simply moving toward, because it is clearly where you are going. But you have to be in the interval long enough to let that happen. You have to resist the pull back to the old urgency. You have to trust that the quietness is not emptiness. It is the space where the new state's properties are assembling. And this requires something that the old version of you was not designed to do. It requires you to be still at the threshold. Not passive, not checked out, not giving up. Still, observant, present in the interval without trying to collapse it prematurely. Allowing the probability field to reorganize around the observer you have become, rather than forcing it back into alignment with the observer you were. This is the practice of the crossing, and we will come back to it in detail. But first, I want to map something that is happening in your external life right now. Something that you may have noticed without understanding what it means. When you cross a threshold at the level of identity and consciousness, the external world doesn't immediately reflect the crossing. We've established that. But it does begin to show subtle signs, not of the new reality fully forming yet, but of the old reality beginning to lose coherence. This is the second quality of the post-crossing interval, and it is perhaps the most unsettling one. Things that used to fit start to feel slightly wrong. I want to pause here and ask you something. Was there a moment, a specific quiet moment, when you knew something had shifted? Not a dramatic event, but a threshold you stepped through and couldn't step back from. Tell me about it in the comments. I read them. Not dramatically wrong, not broken, just subtly misaligned, like a piece of furniture that has always been in the same corner of the room, and you've never thought twice about it. And then one day, you walk in, and it just looks wrong there. Nothing has changed. The furniture is exactly where it's always been. But something in how you're perceiving the room has shifted, and now the placement feels off, and you can't unsee it. This happens with relationships, people who you've known for years, whose company you've always enjoyed, whose presence in your life has always felt natural. Suddenly, there are conversations that feel like they're happening in a language you used to speak fluently, but are now slightly rusty in. Not bad conversations, not hostile, just slightly out of register. Like you're both using the same words, but they're pointing at slightly different things. And you notice it, and you wonder what's changed. And you can't quite locate the change because it's not in them. It's in you. This happens with environments, places you've worked in, lived in, spent time in. They start to feel like costumes, like they fit the previous version of you perfectly, and now they're a half size off. Not unwearable, just not quite right. And you look around and you think, how long has it felt like this? And you realize you can't answer that, because the feeling crept in so gradually that you can't find the moment it started. This happens with your sense of time. The future used to feel like a specific shape, a particular configuration of goals and milestones and anticipated experiences that formed a kind of forward momentum you could feel. And now that shape has blurred slightly. The specific future you were building toward feels less certain, not because something has gone wrong, but because the version of you who was building it has changed, and the new version hasn't yet fully articulated what it is building toward. All of this, the relationships that feel slightly out of register, the environments that feel like costumes, the future that has blurred at its edges, all of this is the external world beginning to register the crossing that has already happened internally. The old structures are not collapsing. They are beginning the slow process of reorganizing around the new observer. And in the interval between the internal crossing and the external reorganization, everything feels slightly off, because you are seeing your old reality through new eyes. This is not a problem to solve. This is a process to move through. And the critical thing, the thing that determines whether you move through it cleanly or whether you get stuck in it, is whether you understand what it is. If you think the slight wrongness is a sign that something is broken, you will try to fix it. You will try to restore the sense of fit between yourself and your environment by going back to the version of yourself that fit it perfectly. And you will succeed temporarily. The fit will return. The urgency will come back. The goals will re-energize, and you will feel better, briefly. And then, weeks or months later, you will find yourself back at the threshold, because the crossing already happened, and you can't actually undo it. You can only delay it. And you will have to navigate the interval again, with the added weight of having tried to go back. Or you understand what the slight wrongness is. You recognize it as the external world beginning to catch up to an internal crossing that has already occurred. You allow the misalignment to be present without trying to fix it. You stay in the interval. You let the probability field continue reorganizing. And you watch with the particular quality of attention that is available to you now that you've crossed. As the new structure slowly assembles itself around the observer you have become. This is the path through the interval, and it requires a specific kind of trust, not blind trust, not passive surrender. Trust built on understanding. Trust built on knowing the physics of what's happening. Trust built on recognizing that the disorientation you're feeling is not the sensation of going wrong. It is the sensation of arriving. Now I want to tell you about someone. Her name was Mara. She was 41 years old, and by every external measure, her life was exactly what it was supposed to be. Good career, stable relationship, a home she'd worked hard for, a social circle she'd maintained for years, a sense of forward momentum that had carried her through her 30s with the particular confidence of someone who knows what she's building and is building it well. And then, sometime in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday, something shifted. She couldn't have told you when exactly. It wasn't a Tuesday she could point to on a calendar. It was more like she woke up one Wednesday and realized that something had changed, and she couldn't locate the moment of change. And when she tried to trace it backward, she kept arriving at a blankness, a period of weeks or maybe months where nothing dramatic had happened, but something had clearly moved. The first thing she noticed was the goals. She'd been working toward a specific promotion for 2 years. She had a plan. She had a timeline. She had the particular forward-leaning energy of someone who knows exactly what they want and is methodically moving toward it. And then one morning, she sat down to work on the next step of that plan and felt nothing. Not resistance, not fear, nothing. The goal was still there, visible, articulable, objectively reasonable. But the emotional charge that had been driving her toward it for 2 years had simply gone quiet. She thought she was burning out. She took a week off. She came back, and the nothing was still there. She thought she was depressed. She talked to a therapist. The therapist said she didn't seem depressed. She seemed unusually calm. Mara didn't know how to explain that the calm felt like a problem. She thought something was wrong with her relationship. She and her partner had a series of careful, loving conversations in which they both agreed that everything was fine. And it was fine. But fine felt different than it used to feel. Fine used to feel like solid ground. Now fine felt like a room she recognized but wasn't sure she lived in anymore. 6 months into this experience, Mara did what most people do when the interval goes on long enough. She decided to fix it. She signed up for a course in her field that she'd been putting off. She made a concrete plan for the promotion she'd been drifting away from. She scheduled more social activities, more structure, more forward momentum. She reached back into the toolkit of the person she'd been before the shift and she applied those tools with deliberate force. And it worked. For about 3 months, it worked. The urgency came back. The goals re-energized. The slight wrongness of everything faded as she got busy enough to stop noticing it. She felt like herself again. And then, 6 months after that, she found herself sitting in her car in the parking lot of her office building, having just received the promotion she'd worked for, and feeling nothing. Not disappointment, not emptiness in a dramatic sense, just a very quiet, very clear recognition that the thing she had spent 2 years building toward had arrived. And it had arrived for a version of her that was no longer here. She sat in that parking lot for a long time. And then she did something she hadn't done in over a year. She got very still. She stopped trying to figure out what was wrong. She stopped reaching for the tools of the old version. She just sat there, in the interval, and let herself feel what was actually present. What was present was not grief, exactly. It was more like the feeling of standing in a doorway, not inside the old room, not yet fully in the new one, just standing in the threshold, aware of both spaces belonging entirely to neither. And in that stillness, something happened that she had not expected. She felt, for the first time in over a year, a sense of direction. Not the old direction. Not the direction of the promotion and the plan and the 2-year timeline. A different direction. Quieter, more specific. More obviously hers, it didn't arrive as a dramatic revelation. It arrived as a simple, clear knowing. The kind of knowing that doesn't need to be justified or explained because it is simply accurate. The kind of knowing that feels less like a decision and more like a recognition. She had crossed a threshold over a year ago. She had spent a year trying to go back. And in that parking lot, on the day the old version of her life delivered its final achievement, she finally stopped trying to go back. She stepped forward instead. What happened next for Mara was not immediate or dramatic. The external structures of her life didn't transform overnight, but they began to reorganize. Slowly at first, then with increasing momentum. Opportunities appeared that would not have been visible to the previous version of her. Conversations opened that wouldn't have been possible from the old frequency. The relationships that had felt slightly out of register either deepened into something new or gracefully faded. The environments that had felt like costumes either became genuinely hers again or were replaced by ones that fit. The new timeline didn't arrive as a miracle. It arrived as a gradual, inevitable clarification. The probability field reorganized around the observer she had become, and what had felt like a year of confusion and stagnation revealed itself, in retrospect, as a year of becoming. The crossing had happened over a year before she stopped fighting it. But the crossing had always already happened. And once she stopped trying to undo it, everything that had been waiting on the other side began arriving. Mara's story is not unusual. The specific details are hers: the career, the relationship, the parking lot. But the pattern is universal. The crossing that happens before you know you've crossed. The interval of disorientation and misalignment. The attempt to go back. The eventual stillness. The recognition. The forward movement. This is the pattern of the threshold crossing. And the reason it matters to understand it in its full structure is that understanding it changes where you put your energy. It changes what you interpret as a problem and what you interpret as a process. It changes whether you spend the interval fighting the crossing or moving through it. You are in this pattern right now. You are in Mara's parking lot moment, not at the end of a year of resistance necessarily, but at the moment of recognition. The moment where you understand what has already happened. The moment where you can choose consciously and clearly to stop trying to go back and to start moving forward into the reality that is already assembling itself around the observer you have become. This is the crossing point within the crossing, the threshold within the threshold, and it is open right now. Let me talk about the nervous system for a moment, because this is where the abstract becomes concrete, where the quantum mechanics becomes something you can actually feel in your body and work with in your daily life. Your nervous system is, among other things, a prediction machine. It is constantly, continuously generating predictions about what is going to happen next, based on what has happened before. This is not a flaw. This is one of the most sophisticated and useful capabilities of the human nervous system. It allows you to navigate complex environments efficiently, to respond to familiar patterns quickly, to conserve cognitive and emotional energy for genuinely novel situations. But here is the consequence of this predictive architecture when you cross a threshold. The nervous system's predictions are built on the data of the previous state. They are calibrated to the identity, the beliefs, the emotional patterns, the probability field frequency of the observer you were before the crossing. And when you cross, when the internal structure reorganizes, the predictions stop matching reality. Not dramatically, not in ways that are immediately obvious, but in the subtle, pervasive way that makes everything feel slightly off. That makes the familiar feel unfamiliar. That makes the certain feel uncertain. The nervous system experiences this mismatch as a threat. Not a life or death threat, necessarily, but a threat to its model of reality. And the nervous system treats threats to its model of reality with a particular kind of urgency. It wants to restore the match. It wants to get the predictions working again. It wants to find the familiar patterns and lock back onto them. This is why the pull to go back is so strong. It is not weakness. It is not lack of commitment to your own growth. It is the nervous system doing exactly what it is designed to do, seeking the restoration of a coherent, predictive model, seeking the return of certainty, seeking the re-establishment of a reality that it knows how to navigate. And the work of the interval, the actual, practical, daily work, is to give the nervous system something new to calibrate to. Not to fight it, not to override it through sheer willpower, but to gently, consistently, persistently introduce it to the new state, to help it build new predictions, to give it data from the new frequency, so that it can begin constructing a new model of reality that matches where you actually are. This is what the practice of threshold crossing actually looks like. Not a dramatic one-time event, not a single meditation or visualization that permanently shifts everything. A consistent, patient, daily practice of inhabiting the new state long enough and deeply enough for the nervous system to begin recognizing it as home. What does this look like in practice? It looks like pausing before you reach for the old toolkit. When the urgency to fix the interval arises, when the mind says you need to get back on track, you need to recover your motivation. You need to restore the certainty you used to have. It looks like pausing before acting on that urgency. Not suppressing it, not judging it, just pausing. Recognizing it as the nervous system trying to restore the old predictive model, and then, instead of acting from that urgency, asking a different question. The question is not, how do I get back to where I was? The question is, what does the version of me who has already crossed actually want to do right now? It is a subtle shift, but it is the shift that makes everything else possible. Because the version of you who has already crossed has different wants than the version who hadn't yet. Not dramatically different, necessarily, but different in quality, different in direction, different in the particular flavor of energy they carry. And when you ask that question, genuinely, openly, without already knowing the answer, you give the new state a chance to speak. You give the new observer a chance to interact with the probability field from its actual current frequency, rather than from the frequency of the state you've already left. And the probability field responds. Not immediately, not dramatically, but it responds. The predictions begin recalibrating. The new model begins forming. The new timeline begins clarifying. This is the practice, and it is available to you right now, today, in the exact life you are currently living, in the interval you are currently navigating. Let me now guide you through a threshold crossing practice. This is not a visualization designed to produce a dramatic experience. It is a practice designed to help you inhabit the state you have already crossed into, to give your nervous system and your conscious awareness a direct experience of the new frequency, so that they can begin building the new predictive model from that experience. Find a position that is comfortable and still.